All right, so this is going to be my pseudo kind of transition to YouTube as far as going from TikTok to YouTube in these book reviews. I do usually have notes when it comes to trying to trying to review these, so I'm going to try to pull that out actually right now. See if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Okay, I found my notes, but I'm going to try to go through my Kindle notes since I have them open. Not all of my notes are in the Kindle notes. I am going to go off of chapter 30. That's a good place to start. Sorry. So, even though I'm probably ahead on TikTok, but let's just go with chapter 30 right here. Let's see if that's better. All right, so we're just going to skip through, see what I have highlighted. I can't really. I didn't have anything highlighted on chapter 30. 1 second. All right, so for chapter 30 and chapter 29, it ends with Ellen saying that she figured out what the mist, and in chapter 30, yeah, turns out that the mist was the deep, or the deepness, the thing that they're trying to defeat, the thing that's going to try to destroy their world. Vin and Sazed talk about the mist and that it might actually be the deepness. And then Vin finally reveals that, or tells Sazed that she saw the ghost that was in the mist, which is the big problem that happened in the book. I think Vin says that they need to find the new hero of ages, and she kind of implies that it's her, but not necessarily her. That it, yes, no, maybe so, be her. And something that I didn't know is that Sazed took like 10 years trying to oppose the Lord Ruler, and that the Terracemen didn't like him for that. But again, he's in a position where him doing that actually let the Terracemen do their mission in the first place. So we find out that Tyndall was a breeder, kind of like, what is it? The Maiden's Tale, Maiden Hand, the Red Maiden. So she was forced to be a breeder, which was a little messed up. And it said that she had like around 20 children, which is crazy. She mentioned that she did raise a few, so I'm trying to wonder what's that about. Like, see if we're gonna meet one of Tyndall's children. But not only was she a breeder. Hang on, what did I do? There we go. Sorry about that. So, Tyndall not only was a breeder, she was a secret breeder in the sense that she was a ferrochemist. Like she was a person that does ferrochemy, and I guess they didn't know that. And ferrochemy is like hereditary. I don't know how the Lord Ruler or the guards or anything like that wouldn't have caught that, but this basically allowed her to keep ferrochemists in the world, like to keep them from getting extinct. All right, now chapter 31. In chapter 31, we meet Phylin Frandu, which sounds a little bit like fondue, but whatever. Phylin Frandu, he's the one that in the beginning of this chapter, he made a big deal over his name change, that, he's not like the Scar, like the Scar are beneath him because he rose up because he's better than all of them or whatever. Ellen shows up to the meeting that's supposed to be the one to depose him as king. And I'm expecting him to like throw some verbal hands. He sort of does, but he more acts demure. Like he knows he's getting dethroned, but he's acting like it doesn't bother him or it doesn't faze him. And that kind of throws the assembly off guard. They're kind of like, nervous looking at him like, oh my God, what is he going to do? And so it turns out this dude, Phylin, was the one that organized the vote against Ellen. Immediately, I knew I didn't like him. And then they start the nominations for king. Someone nominates Lord Penrod. I think it was Ellen. Penrod nominates Ellen. And then Phylin stands up. Everybody thinks he's going to nominate himself. But this dude stands up and nominates Lord Ashweather Set, the king of one of the enemies that are knocking on Luthadil's doors. Not only that, this dude, the king of the enemy army that's outside, he was just in the crowd the whole time. Like, how does security suck this much where there's two armies outside and you still have people sneaking in? Important people. He could have been an assassin easily. I'm surprised people aren't getting assassinated left and right. Chapter 32. So chapter 32 is basically just Set demanding to be king because he can attack at any time. It's kind of like, hey, I got the bigger gun, but he really doesn't. He's very loud, brash, and tries to be philosophical, saying that, you know, a threat, a bribe, and a promise are all essentially the same thing. I'm not sure if they mentioned that Set was in a wheelchair, but he can't walk, and Vin, for whatever reason, thinks that he's secretly a mistborn and that he's faking his disability, and that he could actually walk, or he uses allomancy, like he's a super strong allomancer or whatever. Set manages to convince them to let them stay inside the city so that they can vote on who to be king in like 2 weeks. And then Ellen gets asked to meet by Set's son to meet with Set in like 1 week. I cannot pronounce this dude's name to save my life. Look, you can see where I immediately didn't like this guy. Phylan smiled. Screw this slimy guy. All right, right here I found it. Set's son, Breeze whispered. Jnordan, something like that. Chapter 33. In Chapter 33, Vin is still contemplating about her being the hero of Aegis, which means that she's the hero of Aegis. And someone has poisoned the water hole, which just adds to Ellen's problem as non-king. We also find out that the Kandra kind of have like a religion that's secret, and it looks like part of that religion is that they believe that all humans will die, and then eventually that's when all the Kandra will be free. It's not that they're gonna die tragically, it's just that they're eventually gonna die or kill themselves. And then that's when they'll be free because they can outlive them, I guess. The contract for the Kandra still doesn't make sense, though. Vin talks to Doxson, and after that conversation, she thinks Doxson is in the clear. But Osier said that the Kandra are pretty thorough, so I still don't know about Doxson. Like, I thought she was gonna test who the Kandra is by using her powers, you know what I mean? Like, she was gonna try to soothe or riot somebody's emotion, and since Doxson's not a allomancer or anything like that, like he can't use copper, he should have like tried to make him happy or pissed off or something that'll rile his emotions in a way that's not usually how he is usually. Like, she's checking all these people off the list without actually using her powers, which I thought was the plan to begin with, to try to figure out who the Kandra is. Also in Chapter 33, for a second, I'm a little bit ahead. For a second, I thought it was going to be Captain Demure, but the book reveals that it might be Captain Demure, which red herring, I think, is what it's called. But like it's not confirmed as far as right now, as Chapter 33. It's not confirmed that is Captain Demure. So he could be sneaking out to just do something embarrassing or secret that doesn't really have to do with him being the Kandra. All right, for Chapter 34, I ran out of my notes, so I'm just gonna have to go wild man and just look at my actual like highlighted notes. So we meet this dude named Njorden. Njorden, he's kind of like he used to be an ex-obligator, kind of a sleazy character, but kind of like those annoying, like, thinks he's smarter than you characters, because he was an ex-obligator. I guess he is kind of smart. Basically, in this chapter, Ellen is trying to look for loopholes in his own laws to see what he can do to be king. Ellen walks in, and she's all excited to tell Ellen that she's discovered about Demure. She didn't really have any evidence, just her instincts, but we need proof. I'm a little bit ahead. She jumped the gun here, yes. And even when I was reading this, I was like, no. You need proof. We need proof. Let me see if I have the notes here. Yeah, we need evidence. So don't jump the gun yet, Vin. So Vin goes out, and then she sees Zane again. And then Zane's trying to be like he's giving off like he's trying to seduce her, but it's more like, where's my hug? And right here, this thing between us, Zane, it isn't what you think. Yeah, and in my notes I have here, like, so Zane is an incel or something similar. The rest of this chapter is more of Zane just being brooding and talking to Vin about Ellen, and that he doesn't actually care that he had the better life. And the chapter ends with some kind of like, not ominous, but like, proof was coming. She'd soon understand what Ellen Venture truly thought of her. And even in my notes, I was like, what does that mean? Where, like, see? All right, I actually ran out of notes for chapter 35, but I have my notes here on my phone still. I just needed to, I didn't highlight anything on the Kindle. So chapter 35, it's time for their meeting with Set. It's kind of similar to their meeting with Straff. Breeze decides not to go to the meeting because he thinks things are still awkward between him and Set. And I always forget that the Kandra may be an imposter, but it's not a direct threat because Kandra can't kill people. And also, I was thinking that there's two imposters or two invaders. One is a Kandra and one is the person that killed the Kandra's body. And for whatever reason, I didn't stop to think that maybe Zane was the one that killed the body for the Kandra. Turns out Set doesn't really care too much who his daughter dates, and he doesn't really mind that she's staying in Luthadel because apparently he knows that Ellen won't hurt her. And it's also revealed that the princess of the Set's daughter, Alaran or something like that, she is a rioter, so it might have been her. Like, she might have been the one to seduce Breeze. And then, like, Set is kind of similar in Breeze, where they're kind of like the character that you find charming, even though they're annoying a little bit. Because Set, I know he's a bad guy, but he's making a lot of sense as far as, running a kingdom as a king. And the main reason Set has his army outside of Luthadel is because he wants the Atium. And in this chapter, it ends with him pretty much finding out that, hey, Ellen has no idea where the Atium actually is. So that's pretty much it for this review breakdown of The Well of Ascension for now. I don't know what to name it, part 1 or part like 10 at this point, because I'm coming here off of TikTok. So if you enjoyed, thanks for watching. I'm sorry that I couldn't do this from the beginning. I didn't feel like starting over. As far as editing goes, this video is not going to have much editing other than cuts, even though I might miss some things that I wanted to cut off. And I'm also keep these videos at 5 chapters per video, so the length of these videos might vary. That's it for now. It's a rough draft, rough start, rough transition. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.